Just like a computer, you can have good programming or bad programming. Most of the programming you have comes from your parents and then your environment, TV, stuff like that. But most of it comes from your parents. It comes from the fact that you guys share the same DNA. It comes from the fact that you are like a camcorder watching them growing up, that you have learned behavior. And it comes from the fact of whatever they were verbally and physically teaching you. You know what I'm saying? You have to sit and analyze how your parents were handling things and analyze their behavior, because a lot of that is your behavior. And a lot of times the fight we have to not be like our parents just makes us more like our parents. So you have to analyze and say, okay, when the bills were piling up, my guardians were acting kind of crazy. They were fighting with each other. They were getting hostile. They were so stressed out. They were drinking more. They were smoking more, whatever it might be. And you have to sit and say, okay, I noticed that behavior. That is bad programming. I'm going to remove that and try my best to not mimic that behavior. But in other situations, your parents might have been very giving. It might have been Christmas time and they was buying gifts for everybody in the family. You know what I'm saying? You might want to say, okay, that's a good behavior. That's a good program. That's something I want to keep in my programming as a part of my software, because I want to continue to be a giving person, But when the pressure is on, I don't want to be acting crazy. I don't want to be drowning myself in alcohol. I want to handle that in a more positive way. So that would be the negative program. Some people's parents don't really have much good programming to give them. It kind of is what it is. The only thing your mom might have been able to teach you to do was bake an apple pie or make a meal or something, or if you're in a situation like you have to do your best to just take what you can and remove what's not good. If you have to remove 90%, then you remove that 90%. And once you analyze those negative behaviors, because that's where a lot of your negative behaviors come from, once you analyze that, you can start to say, okay, I'm going to practice with repetition to start implementing the opposite in a positive way. And then you'll begin to reprogram yourself permanently. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be like if you were the computer with viruses, with malware, you're removing that malware and all you're doing is adding more and more good software. Just a technique for you to try out. Journaling is going to be key here. You have to sit and go in your Rolodex in your mind and start to think about situations with your parents and stuff. Think of the people you're growing up, your older siblings, your uncles, whatever, whoever you was looking up to as a kid. And think about how they handled these different situations, how they could have passed on this learned behavior to you. And you have to start saying, okay, I liked when they did this, and that. And I don't like when they did this, and that. And make it as detailed as you can. And little by little, you'll notice how you can start to reprogram yourself in a positive way permanently, and how that'll start to have major effects positively on your mental health and major effects positively on your life overall, because we don't want to be walking around doing the same thing. This is the whole point of breaking that generational curse, because the negative things that your parents were doing, they got from their parents and they got from their parents, and you have to be the one to be powerful enough to break that cycle. You're going to be like, well, I ain't about to do that. I'm about to do this, and it might sound simple, but it isn't as simple as it sounds, but it's very possible, and you have the power to do it. If you're watching this video, you have the power to do it. Trust me, so just something to think about. Get started on it. Start removing the bad programming and start adding positive, good programming.